The girl only taps the boy's ear once. But that tiny move exposes something unbelievable. When a normal person is tapped on the right shoulder, they naturally turn toward the right. But this boy suddenly turns left. Then the girl flicks a paper ball at his right ear. Instead of reaching toward the right side, he reaches across to scratch the left. Even when looking at his fingernails, he does the opposite of what most people would do. This strange chain of reactions convinces Ra-hee of one thing. The boy in front of her, Joon-kyeong, is either completely strange or he is a real genius. And to be honest, on the first day of school, she was leaning toward the first answer. During the entrance ceremony, every student stands neatly in line, listening to the principal's speech. Then Joon-kyeong arrives on an old bicycle, loudly stopping behind the class line and fixing his bike as if nobody else exists. The whole school looks at him. He does not care. Instead of hiding in the corner, he starts comparing everyone's height. Then he pushes his bicycle forward and squeezes himself into the spot where the students are about the same height as him. That one move makes Ra-hee give him the highest possible rating in her mind. This guy is unbelievable. During the school photo, the photographer tells Joon-kyeong to hold the flowers in front of his chest, but he insists on holding them sideways. So in the final picture, everyone looks normal except him. Even during a math test, he shows up late. There are only 5 minutes left before the papers are collected, yet he walks in calmly, sits down, and starts writing. The teacher is stunned. In just 5 minutes, Joon-kyeong finishes the entire exam. When Ra-hee collects the papers and glances at his answers, she realizes every single one is correct. This is the moment her curiosity begins to burn. People think Joon-kyeong is slow, weird, or impossible to understand. But to Ra-hee, those strange habits are not stupidity. They are proof that his brain works in a way nobody else's does. From that day on, Ra-hee starts following him closely. Wherever Joon-kyeong goes, she goes. She watches him with bright, intense curiosity until he feels uncomfortable all over. One day, Ra-hee sees Joon-kyeong putting letters into a mailbox. Her imagination immediately runs wild. Maybe he has a girlfriend. Maybe this quiet math genius is secretly writing love letters. To confirm her theory, she waits until a teacher calls Joon-kyeong to the office. Then she asks her friend to stand guard while she secretly opens his school bag. But there are no love letters inside. Instead, there are letters addressed to the president. The writing is full of dialect expressions and spelling mistakes. Ra-hee becomes so absorbed in reading that she does not notice Joon-kyeong returning. He catches her on the spot. Ra-hee can only crouch there and pretend she has no idea what is happening. But what she does not know yet is that Joon-kyeong has been doing this for years. He lives in a remote mountain village with almost no safe road access. Every day, getting to school takes him nearly 5 hours. The most dangerous part of the journey is a railway line with no station nearby. To leave the village, people must walk through dark tunnels and across narrow railway bridges. When a train comes, they have to hide quickly and hope they are safe. That dangerous route has already taken many lives. So Joon-kyeong writes letter after letter to the president, asking for a small train station for the village. All he wants is for people to travel safely. But the village has too few residents. Even the nearest official station has almost been shut down before. So Joon-kyeong's letters disappear like stones thrown into deep water. No answer, no result. The next day, Ra-hee chases Joon-kyeong to apologize. He ignores her and keeps pedaling his bicycle. Ra-hee runs after him, complaining that his letters are written in heavy dialect and full of mistakes. If he writes like that, she says, how could the president ever be moved? Joon-kyeong still says nothing. Then Ra-hee adds one sentence. My father is a National Assembly member. That sentence hits Joon-kyeong like electricity. His legs suddenly pump harder. His cold attitude disappears immediately. He turns around and seriously asks Ra-hee how to write a letter that could actually move the president. Ra-hee tells him the first thing he must do is fix the strong dialect. To teach him standard pronunciation, she uses study as an excuse to take him to a tteokbokki shop for practice. Then, to help him remember how certain words are spelled, she takes him to an arcade for more hands-on learning. Joon-kyeong is arranged from start to finish. He eats with her, plays games with her, and even ends up drawing her portrait. His head is full of confusion. Is this really letter-writing training? Under Ra-hee's enthusiastic guidance, Joon-kyeong's letters finally lose the heavy dialect and messy mistakes. They become clearer, more formal, and more sincere. And without realizing it, Joon-kyeong's heart begins moving toward this noisy, warm-hearted girl. Every time Joon-kyeong mails a letter, Ra-hee mails one too. She believes one more letter means one more chance. Ra-hee wants to invite Joon-kyeong to eat red bean shaved ice, but he refuses. The railway tunnel and bridge are still the biggest weight in his heart. Seeing him troubled, Ra-hee casually says something that wakes him up. Joon-kyeong may be awkward in daily life, but when it comes to math and physics, his mind is extraordinary. That night, he throws himself into research. His older sister, Bo-kyung, comes over and asks what he is working on, but Joon-kyeong refuses to tell her. What he wants to build is an electronic warning light that can use the vibration of the rails to estimate how far away a train is. If a train is approaching, the device can warn villagers in advance. Soon, the warning light is completed. During the test, it amazes the whole village. Everyone praises the boy who created it. But when the light shows the walking signal, a funny moment happens, and people are briefly confused by how they are supposed to use it. Even so, the invention gives the village something it never had before: a little more safety, a little more hope. One day, Joon-kyeong is called to the teacher's office. His math talent has not gone unnoticed. His teacher, Kim Young-hwan, has collected a pile of notes from university professors for him. When Bo-kyung sees a male name written on the notes, she misunderstands everything and thinks her younger brother may have fallen for a boy. The misunderstanding turns into a chaotic family moment. After that, Joon-kyeong and Ra-hee become more relaxed around each other. Joon-kyeong is not good at sweet words. Instead, he asks indirectly whether Ra-hee has mentioned the station to her father. Then he panics, worried that she may think he is only using her. So he quickly changes the topic. Ra-hee gives him a pile of books and tells him not to fill his head only with math. He complains at first, then he secretly reads them in his room. Bo-kyung notices that her brother has been acting mysterious and cannot hold back her curiosity anymore. She decides that whether he likes a boy or a girl, she will support him no matter what. Joon-kyeong, flustered beyond words, quickly explains that the person is a girl, but even then, he cannot bring himself to say out loud that he likes Ra-hee. With his sister's help, Joon-kyeong wears a bright outfit to meet Ra-hee. The two clearly like each other, but they stay in that soft, awkward space where both hearts are moving closer and neither person dares to name it. He orders red bean shaved ice, which Ra-hee likes, then claims he does not like it and tells her to eat it. He plays arcade games with her and becomes childish after losing, determined to win the next round. When they ride a bicycle together, they sit close enough to feel the moment, but they still keep just enough distance to stay safe. The feeling between them grows quietly, but neither of them breaks the thin paper wall between friendship and love. Days pass. The letters sent to the Blue House still receive no answer. Joon-kyeong's dream of building a station seems close to dying. Then Ra-hee offers him a wild new plan. If he wants the president to notice him, he needs to become famous. The National High School Quiz Contest is the best chance. If he wins first place, he can appear on national television and maybe even receive an award from the president. Then the station request may finally have a real chance. The two start preparing immediately. They find old questions and begin practice tests. But the result leaves Ra-hee speechless. Except for math, Joon-kyeong knows almost nothing. Ask him the capital of the United States, and he confidently says Los Angeles. But ask him to calculate an enormous numerical problem, and he instantly gives an exact answer. The quiz contest route is clearly impossible. So Ra-hee immediately changes targets. Instead of the general knowledge contest, they will aim for the National High School Mathematics competition. The top prize is the presidential award. That means the president may personally present it. Encouraged by Ra-hee, Joon-kyeong decides to go for it. But on the day of the competition, trouble appears again. His stomach suddenly acts up. He has no choice but to finish the exam as fast as possible, then rush straight to the bathroom. Even under those conditions, Joon-kyeong wins the presidential award. For a moment, hope returns. Then the teacher gives them crushing news. The president has a sudden schedule conflict. The award ceremony will will be handled by the Minister of Education instead. The chance they fought so hard for disappears, but Ra-hee refuses to give up. She throws out an even crazier plan. They will go directly to the Blue House and wait at the gate if they have to. One person dares to imagine it, the other dares to follow. They pack their things and leave, but the car barely gets out of the county before Jung-kyeong becomes terribly carsick. Ra-hee is furious, but also helpless. After hitting wall after wall, both of them feel heavy, so Ra-hee takes Jung-kyeong to watch a movie and relax. But when they arrive, Jung-kyeong freezes. This is not a movie theater. It is Ra-hee's parents' bedroom. He stands at the door, not knowing whether to go in or run away. Ra-hee pushes him for a long time before he carefully sits on the bed. But as the two watch the video, they realize something is very wrong. This is definitely not the kind of romantic movie they expected. Their faces turn red with embarrassment. Then Ra-hee's mother suddenly comes home. She wants to invite Jung-kyeong to stay for dinner, but Jung-kyeong is so guilty and nervous that he pretends to feel sick and runs away. The next day, Jung-kyeong is called to the principal's office. Inside are Ra-hee, the principal, and Ra-hee's father, the assemblyman. Jung-kyeong immediately thinks the bedroom incident has been exposed. Without hesitation, he drops to his knees and takes all the blame. His words make Ra-hee's father's face turn dark. The man cannot believe his daughter may have been involved in something inappropriate, but Jung-kyeong has misunderstood everything. Ra-hee's father is not there to punish him. He has noticed Jung-kyeong's mathematical gift. He is planning to send his daughter to a prestigious school in Seoul, and he wants to fully sponsor Jung-kyeong to go with her so he can receive the best education. This is an opportunity that could change Jung-kyeong's entire life. Bo-kyung begs him to take it, but Jung-kyeong cannot decide. He cannot let go of the unfinished station, and more than that, he cannot leave the sister who has always stayed beside him. Just when Jung-kyeong is trapped in hesitation, tragedy strikes again. After days of heavy rain, the warning light he built is damaged. A villager crossing the railway cannot avoid the train in time and loses his life. The incident tears open the nightmare Jung-kyeong has buried for years. When he was still in elementary school, Jung-kyeong and his sister Bo-kyung were walking home together when a train came. The two managed to avoid the train, but Jung-kyeong's competition trophy fell toward the river. Bo-kyung tried to catch it, then she fell. The only thing recovered afterward was the cold trophy. Bo-kyung's body was never found. The grief of losing his daughter almost crushed their father, Tae-yoon. For a moment, he seemed to lose all will to keep living. But Jung-kyeong's desperate crying pulled him back from the edge. He suddenly remembered that he still had a young son. He still had the responsibility of being a father. So Tae-yoon buried his despair, picked Jung-kyeong up, and walked back to a home that would never feel whole again. But guilt swallowed the young Jung-kyeong completely. He believed he was the reason his sister died. In pain and anger, he threw the trophy into the muddy water. But when he returned to his room, he froze. The trophy was sitting perfectly on the desk, and Bo-kyung was standing in front of him. Jung-kyeong was shocked and overjoyed. His sister had returned. But when Tae-yoon heard the noise and opened the door, there was nobody there except Jung-kyeong. Only then does the truth become clear. The Bo-kyung who returned to Jung-kyeong is a spirit only he can see. From that day on, Bo-kyung has stayed by his side. Only Jung-kyeong can see her. That is why he turns sideways in photos. He is leaving space for his sister. That is why he refuses to go to Seoul. If he leaves, he is afraid Bo-kyung will be left alone in the village. On the day Ra-hee leaves for Seoul, she waits for Jung-kyeong at their meeting spot. She waits from morning until evening, from clear sky to pouring rain. But Jung-kyeong never comes. What she does not know is that he is hiding nearby in the rain, watching her. He cannot step forward. He is afraid that if he sees her properly, his heart will soften. He might leave the village. He might abandon his sister. He might abandon the station dream he has guarded for so many years. As the bus disappears into the rain, Jung-kyeong breaks down. He believes he is a failure. He failed to protect his family. He also lost the girl he loved. A year passes. Finally, Jung-kyeong receives a reply from the Blue House, but the answer is almost empty. The government agrees to approve the idea of a station, but there is no construction budget at all. In other words, it is a promise with no money behind it. Jung-kyeong makes his decision immediately. If nobody will build it, he will. He picks up a shovel and begins digging beside the railway by himself. The ground is full of hard stones. Within days, his palms are covered with blisters. The villagers see his stubborn determination. One by one, they bring tools and come to help. Together, the whole village begins building a tiny station with their own hands. At last, a small, simple station rises beside the tracks. Jung-kyeong names it Yangwon Station. News spreads about the boy who built a train station. A railway publicity employee comes to interview him about this unusual story. During this time, Jung-kyeong receives an audio tape from Ra-hee in Seoul. Her voice is full of longing and affection she cannot hide. When the tape reaches a more private part, Jung-kyeong panics and quickly turns off the recorder. Bo-kyung immediately fights him for it, wanting to hear more. Listening to Ra-hee's familiar voice, Jung-kyeong looks at their photo and sinks into deep longing. He wants to record a tape back to her, but Bo-kyung sits nearby watching the whole thing, teasing him until his face turns red. He has to kick her out of the room, but once he is alone, he records again and again, and every version sounds awkward. In the end, he gives up on the tape and writes a letter instead. On Jung-kyeong's birthday, he comes home and sees Ra-hee waiting there with a cake. She has come back just to celebrate with him. He has missed her terribly, but once she is in front of him, his mouth becomes useless. Jung-kyeong prepares a full table of homemade food. Bo-kyung sits at the table too, smiling as she watches everything. But of course, Ra-hee cannot see her. During dinner, Ra-hee brings up Jung-kyeong's dream. She says their physics teacher has found an important exam for him. If he passes, he can study in America and even get a chance to intern at NASA. This is the dream buried deep in Jung-kyeong's heart, but because he cannot leave Bo-kyung, he has never told anyone. The moment Ra-hee mentions it, Jung-kyeong panics. He is afraid Bo-kyung will hear, so he quickly stuffs food toward Ra-hee to stop her from talking. After dinner, Ra-hee does not want to leave, but Jung-kyeong acts like a wooden post and insists on walking her to the bus stop. Seeing her upset, he finally gathers the courage to hold her hand. Neither of them says anything, but their steps slow naturally. The night around them feels quiet enough for their heartbeats to be heard. When they reach a stretch of railway, Jung-kyeong suddenly turns off the flashlight. Ra-hee is about to ask what he is doing, then she sees it. Countless fireflies rise around them. Tiny lights fill the dark, turning the night gentle and dreamlike. Ra-hee looks at the boy in front of her and softly says she hopes he can spread his wings and fly. Then she kisses him. Under the fireflies, the quiet sweetness of young love fills the trees, the rails, and the night air. No more words are needed. Everything they feel has already been written into this moment. Then the day of Yangwon Station's first opening arrives. The villagers crowd onto the small platform, waiting with excitement. But when the train roars past, it does not stop. Not even for a second. The engineer driving that train is Jung-kyeong's father, Tae-yoon. The little station has not received official permission to operate, so to the railway system, it is still only an empty shell. The villagers' hope falls apart. Meanwhile, Tae-yoon sees Jung-kyeong's story in a magazine. He becomes furious and calls the newspaper office, shouting at them. The article blames the deaths of Jung-kyeong's mother and sister on Jung-kyeong himself. Tae-yoon is terrified that those words will destroy his son, but nobody knows the most painful part. Those words came from Jung-kyeong himself. For years, he has carried every tragedy on his own shoulders. He built the station not only to protect the villagers, but also because he wanted his silent father to finally see him, to praise him, to forgive him. Now that the station has become useless, Jung-kyeong completely breaks down. He throws away the exam admission ticket for the chance to study abroad. He chooses to give up. Bo-kyung cries for him, but she cannot do anything. From a distance, Tae-yoon sees everything. In silence, he goes to Yangwon Station. In a quiet corner, he finds the small memorial Jung-kyeong made for Bo-kyung. Tae-yoon finally breaks. It is not that he never loved his son. It is that the pain of losing his daughter made him bury all that love under years of silence. On his way back, Tae-yoon meets Joon-kyeong's teacher. Only then does he learn that the important exam is tomorrow. If Joon-kyeong passes, he can study overseas for free and move toward the dream he has hidden in his heart. That night, Tae-yoon, a man who has driven trains his whole life and never broken the rules once, makes the boldest decision of his life. When his train passes Yangwon Station, he pulls the emergency brake. He risks his entire career. Then he announces again and again over the broadcast that the train will stop temporarily at Yangwon Station for 10 minutes. The assistant engineer tries to stop him, but Tae-yoon's eyes are red. He says this is his son's lifelong dream. As a father, this is all he can do. Then he runs home and tells Joon-kyeong to pack quickly and go take the exam, but Joon-kyeong does not react. In his eyes, everything is already too late. Then Bo-kyung, after years of silent companionship and his father's willingness to risk everything, finally melt the ice in Joon-kyeong's heart. He stops hesitating. He follows his father and runs toward the train. For the first time, he steps onto the road toward his own dream. On the train, he waves goodbye to Bo-kyung with all his strength. Bo-kyung looks at him with expectation in her eyes, and deep inside, Joon-kyeong promises himself something. This time, he will not run away. He will not waste the love that has carried him this far. Tae-yoon escorts Joon-kyeong all the way to Seoul. During the journey, the distance that has separated father and son for years begins to quietly disappear. They still argue, they still bicker, but for the first time in a long while, they feel like real father and son. When they reach the exam site, the gate is already closing. Joon-kyeong's dream seems about to vanish right in front of them. Without thinking, Tae-yoon runs forward and blocks the gate with his body. Security tries to stop him. He refuses to move. He buys Joon-kyeong the few precious seconds he needs. Joon-kyeong rushes into the exam room. Outside, Tae-yoon waits and smokes cigarette after cigarette, hiding every fear and hope in silence. He has never been good at saying love, but with everything he does, he builds a road for his son. In the end, Joon-kyeong passes the exam with excellent results. When he sees the acceptance notice, he collapses over the table and cries. Tae-yoon thinks he failed and awkwardly tries to comfort him. He does not understand that these are tears of relief. That night, Tae-yoon cooks a full table of food and brings out alcohol he has saved for years. He wants to properly drink with his son. He patiently teaches Joon-kyeong drinking etiquette, telling him to turn the cup when drinking with an elder. Joon-kyeong misunderstands completely, creating a small, funny moment between them. After dinner, father and son sit in the yard. For the first time, the quiet father opens his heart. He reveals the secret he has carried for more than 10 years. He says there are two things he regrets most in his life. First, when Joon-kyeong's mother died in childbirth, he was driving a train and could not get back in time. He could not see his wife one last time. Second, on the day Joon-kyeong won his competition award, Tae-yoon did not go with him. He let Bo-kyung go instead. That choice led to the tragedy. But the deepest wound is even heavier. The train that took Bo-kyung's life was the one Tae-yoon himself was driving. A coworker helped hide the truth because he feared it would destroy the relationship between father and son and ruin Joon-kyeong's life. That secret has crushed Tae-yoon for years. He opposed Joon-kyeong's station dream not because he did not recognize his son's effort. He was afraid that if the truth came out, the guilt would crush Joon-kyeong. Tae-yoon tells Joon-kyeong to let go of the blame. None of this was his fault. If anyone has to carry the guilt, Tae-yoon says, it should be him as the father. Those words move through the years of silence like wind through a closed house. The fog between father and son finally begins to lift. For all those years, the thing separating them was not hatred. It was love and guilt, both too heavy to speak. Each man blamed himself. Each feared that one wrong word would tear open the other's wound. So silence pushed the closest people further and further apart. All the apologies they never said, all the care they never dared show, finally find a place in that summer night. Bo-kyung stands nearby, watching her father and brother finally open their hearts. Her face is filled with gentle relief. Tae-yoon finally stops hiding behind silence. Joon-kyeong finally begins to remove the chains he wrapped around himself. Not long after, Yangwon Station finally receives official permission to operate, and this day is also the day Joon-kyeong leaves to study abroad. Bo-kyung looks at her younger brother, now grown and ready to move forward. The last worry in her heart slowly fades. Since the day she fell into the river, she has stayed beside this guilt-filled boy for more than 10 years. She watched over him through grief, loneliness, obsession, and fear. Now he has finally put down the burden. He has a dream to chase. He has a father who has opened his heart. He has Ra-hee, a girl who crossed so much distance because she loved him. Bo-kyung's mission is complete. This goodbye crosses the line between life and death. It is full of sadness, but it is also the most complete ending they could have. Bo-kyung gently touches Jung-kyung's face. Then, her figure slowly turns into warm, dazzling light. From that moment on, she becomes the gentlest star in his night sky, still watching over the brother she loved all her life. After many twists and turns, Jun-kyung reaches the airport. The first thing he does is call Ra-hee, but nobody answers. He keeps trying. Still nothing. Just before boarding, he suddenly hears a familiar voice. Ra-hee. Ignoring the security staff around him, Jun-kyung turns and runs toward the sound. He wants to see the girl he has missed every single day. Ra-hee is standing there. She has so much to say, so many worries, so much affection she has held inside. But before she can finish, Jun-kyung does something he has never done before. He moves first. He kisses her. For the first time, he answers all her longing with action instead of awkward silence. The dream he guarded for years finds its path. The love that ran toward him from far away finally finds its home. And this story about growing up, guilt, love, and healing reaches its softest ending. When the whistle of Yangwon Station finally settles into the mountains for the first time, we finally understand what the miracle of this movie really is. It is not only the impossible talent of a boy who can finish a math exam in 5 minutes. It is not only the shining moment of winning the presidential award. It is not even the bright future waiting for him overseas. The miracle is much smaller and much deeper. It is a boy from a remote village writing letters for more than 10 years, even when nobody answers. It is him picking up a shovel and digging through stone because waiting no longer feels enough. It is the villagers arriving with their own tools, one by one, to help a stubborn kid build a station that could let everyone leave home safely. It is an old train engineer, a father who has never broken the rules in his life, pulling the emergency brake and risking his career just to give his son 10 more minutes to reach a dream. For many viewers, the most heartbreaking part is not Jun-kyung's genius. It is Bo-kyung. She is not just a ghost. She is the guilt Jun-kyung carried for years. She is the attachment he could not release. She is the light he created for himself during countless painful days. Only when father and son finally speak honestly, and only when Jun-kyung finally takes off the chains around his heart, can Bo-kyung smile and turn into light. The movie's most moving power does not come from a dramatic, fantasy-like victory. It comes from ordinary human warmth. The whole village carrying shovels and hoes to help build a little station. Ra-hee traveling all the way from Seoul because her heart never stopped looking for Jun-kyung. A silent father finally revealing the love and pain he buried for over a decade. Maybe each of us has our own Yangwon Station. It may be an unfinished wish, an apology we never said, a person we want to protect with everything we have. And maybe miracles are never things we simply wait for. Maybe they are built, one shovel at a time, by people who keep walking even when the road is full of stones. The story ends, but the whistle of Yangwon Station keeps echoing. It tells us that the greatest miracle is not being born with extraordinary talent. It is having love in your heart and still daring to move forward. That's all for today's movie recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe our channel, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in the next one.